All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into a really powerful, kind of counterintuitive strategy for getting a massive competitive edge. We're talking about building a secret weapon by looking where nobody else dares to. So, picture this. You're a startup. You're in a race against absolute giants. How in the world do you win? I mean, this is the fundamental question, right? How do you beat the bigger, better-funded competition?
Well, the common advice you'll hear over and over is, hey, just play it safe. Use their tools. Stick to the mainstream tech. The stuff that's popular, easy to find developers for, simple to explain to your investors. It's just the easy way out.
But what if that's not just the easy way out, but a trap? What if the real secret isn't to play their game at all, but to completely change the rules? Let's dive into this, because we're going to explore how that safe path might be the most dangerous one, and how picking an unpopular technology can actually become your secret weapon.
This quote, it just nails what's called the pointy-haired boss mentality. The idea is, hey, if you think all programming languages are pretty much the same, then yeah, just pick whichever one has the most buzz around it. It's comfortable, it's easy. But that comfort, it comes at a massive hidden cost.
Okay, so what's really going on here? Why is this conventional wisdom so, well, wrong? It all comes down to a really interesting idea called the blub paradox.
So, the blub paradox goes like this. Imagine a programmer who's totally happy with their language. We'll call it blub. It's a perfectly average language. Now, this programmer can look down at a less powerful language and see exactly what it's missing. But here's the kicker. When they look up at a more powerful language, they're blind to its advantages. It just looks weird, unnecessarily complicated. They can't see the power because their thinking is shaped by blub.
Yeah, so looking up that power ladder, the blub programmer is just kind of content. They can't even tell what they're missing out on. To them, blub is good enough because, they think in blub. It dictates the very problems they can imagine solving.
But here's where it gets really interesting. When you switch to the point of view of a programmer using one of those more powerful languages, well, they look down at blub and just think, how on earth do you get anything done in that thing? They see its limitations crystal clear. And that's the trap, right? The average programmer can't see up, but the expert can always see down. It's a one-way mirror.
So the big question is, how does a startup exploit this paradox? How do you use this to your advantage? Well, this leads us to a really cool strategy called running upstairs.
The idea is super simple, but really smart. As a small, nimble startup, you deliberately choose the difficult ground. You find the hard problems. Then, you force your bigger, slower competitors to follow you onto that ground, where their size, their bulk, suddenly becomes a huge disadvantage. You're basically luring them into a place where you're fast and they're slow.
And this difficult ground, it's not just some tough business problem. No, it's the technology you choose. It's an uncommon, more powerful tool. It's the staircase you run up while your competitors, stuck in their blub mindset, are still standing at the bottom, totally confused.
All right, so what does a secret weapon like this look like in the real world? Well, let's look at Viaweb, the company that later became Yahoo's store. Their secret weapon? Believe it or not, it was Lisp.
So what made Lisp so special? It was a unique feature called macros. And this is kind of mind-bending, but here's the deal. Lisp code is made of data structures. This lets you do something incredible, write programs that write other programs. You're not just coding, you're literally building your own programming tools inside the language. This gives you an absolutely insane boost in speed and lets you build features your competitors couldn't even dream of.
And this wasn't just a gimmick. Get this, at Viaweb, about 20 to 25% of their editor's source code was actually these powerful macros. Let that sink in. A huge chunk of their code was code that wrote more code. This was the technical barrier, the upstairs that their competitors just could not climb.
Look, the real lesson here isn't just go learn Lisp. It's about a much bigger fundamental principle of strategy. It's about forging your own advantage.
So, let's wrap this up. What are the key takeaways? First, technology isn't just implementation. It is strategy. Second, don't run from difficulty. It's a guide. It's what creates you competitive moat. Third, remember that popularity and power are not the same thing. Fourth, a powerful language is like a supercharger for a small team. And maybe most importantly, your secret weapon is whatever tool your competitors just don't understand. Which brings us to the final question, and it's a big one for you to think about. What is the Lisp in your industry today? What's that powerful, misunderstood, unpopular tool out there that could give you an edge that no one can copy? Seriously, finding the answer to that,
Well, that could change everything.